If there is one continuous and ongoing burr under the saddle of the American citizen, and I'm speaking of every color of our political and social spectrum, that is our being subject to Big Brother oversight, as well as the resultant censorship that comes about whenever any of us, quote, cross the line, unquote, in expressing ourselves. Nowhere is this better example than on Facebook, and probably few people are as acutely aware of this than our next guest on the phone with us from Southern California, Wade Booth. Facebook likely picked on the wrong person this time, as you'll hear, and I invite my listeners to get out a pen and take notes. The next person you might save from Facebook censors could be you. Welcome to the show today, Wade.
Thank you, Jerry. How are you today?
Very fine, thank you. I appreciate you spending some time with us. I noticed that you've carved out an interesting presence on Facebook, not only with your own page as Wade Booth, but also with a page you co-created called Truth Beckons.
Yeah, it's a page we started about last December, and it's 134,000 people right now, and it's moving along nicely. And we just do news and information from mainstream and alternative sources. And we do support Occupy and have since our inception. And that's mostly because the bankers still aren't in jail.
Have you noticed that? You know, I find it interesting that a site called Truth Beckons can get 130,000 likes, and most people are lucky to get about 15 to 30. What is it about that particular site that attracts attention?
We just do, news and information mixed with a bit of esoteric spirituality and good news and uplifting truth and sometimes a bit of humor, and they just don't know what's going to come at them next. We are bigger than the LA Times. We are twice as big as the Raw Story, almost 3 times as big, and there are larger pages out there, including Exposing the Truth, which is 335,000, 45,000, and I started off there 2 years ago with Lex, and we moved to make our own site. We don't do this for money. We do this because people need to know what's going on in their world, and they're not getting it through News at 11.
Well, you also happen to be an admin on a number of other pages. So, and before we go into your experience with Facebook censorship and with the ACLU, give us some background understanding first.
Well, I did 20 years in the news business in mainstream, including 6 daily newspapers and radio news in the 80s and 90s. I got out in 1999 after the consolidation of newspapers all over the country, really, where the 100 to 200 Ks were being swallowed up by the large conglomerates. I also do and founded Occupy NATO. It's a 6,800 page about the military-industrial complex and what NATO is doing to destroy parts of the world. And my background with ACLU was I know my rights. I know my freedoms, and I know what free speech is, and I know the things that I've been censored for have not violated the First Amendment, and they shouldn't be taken off a page which is set for 18 plus. We specifically did that because it's for adults.
Uh-huh. Well, let me ask about this orientation towards problems by being an admin. Now, I'm not even sure everybody knows what an admin means on Facebook. What does that constitute?
You operate a page just like you do your own page, and you're responsible for posting to the public. And Facebook has a system where it sets master admins and contributing admins, and I admin for approximately 9 to 10 pages and co-contribute for those also. So we ship information around to various sources when we send something out, and vice versa. We share other pages, including Occupy LA and Occupy Chicago and Occupy Wall Street.
Okay, that gives us enough of an understanding to realize that whenever you put your head above a foxhole, it may likely get shot off. So when you talk about problems by being an admin, is it only been with one group or more groups? How does that work?
All of the groups are currently right now under a constant ban. At one time or another, there are admins in a forum that we have where we communicate issues of the day. And these are admins for approximately 80 different pages. There are a number of forums like that on Facebook where you can communicate with others that are doing the same thing. And each day we're banned for one thing or another. I have personally had to send my driver's license and picture ID twice to Facebook. I've been asked for my cell phone number 3 times. I've been locked out of my own personal account so many times I can't even count. And when you're locked out of your personal account, you can't manage the pages. So it effectively shuts you out also. And what Facebook has...
Well, apparently you must have done some egregious things. So why don't you give me a couple examples of why Facebook can righteously ban you from your own pages or elsewhere?
There was a photo of a mother and child in Africa. It was an award-winning National Geographic pic, and she was breastfeeding. Obviously, she had no breasts because they were both starving. It was one of our most shared pics on the page. We had over 100,000 shares on it, and it was reported and removed by Facebook.
That is...
And I was banned for 7 days.
So basically, the National Geographic itself would have a hard time getting past Facebook censors.
Obviously, and the New Yorker was recently banned, their cartoon department, for showing Adam and Eve had cartoon nipples, and they called it Nipplegate.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, one always wonders about the mentality of the censor to begin with. We certainly talk about the censors in China, and they're literally supposed to be something like 40,000 people employed in China or better that do nothing but censor the Chinese sites 24/7. What is it about the mentality in your experience, or have you ever actually talked to a censor at Facebook to get an idea of what their makeup is?
There's absolutely no way to get a hold of anybody at Facebook. If you go to their help pages, you'll see people screaming out all day for help with their accounts that they feel were banned wrongly on violations of TOS that were not violations of terms of service. My last ban was 30 days. It was for posting a mock vivisection. It was a play that appeared in many national publications, including the Huffington Post, where a woman was in skin garb and she was pretending like she was an animal and undergoing vivisection so that you could bring that point home about the suffering that animals experience.
Right.
And we also do an animal page also on Facebook. And I think what's happening is Facebook's system is so automated. It's the automatic machine monster that you're open to abuse of the reporting system, and an admin then is just left wide open to being reported. Lately, what Facebook has done is that not only are they banning one admin, but they're banning an entire page of admins. So if one admin accidentally posts something that may not be against terms of service but is reported as such, the entire team of admins will get the same warning. That's not supposed to happen. So I think Facebook has a glitch.
Oh, well, I would say one or two. Now, my curiosity is the fact that you went so far as to reach out to the ACLU and that something miraculously came about because of that. So tell us about that particular incident.
Yeah, I contacted ACLU Massachusetts, which I do retweet often on my personal Twitter account, and they put me in touch with ACLU National, and they've had an attorney eyeing the case through the screenshots that I've sent of the bans and other information from other pages that were banned. including the New Yorker, and they are looking at, putting the screws to Facebook to free up free speech, because these things that are being marked as violations are clearly not violations. So ACLU sent them my email. They tracked my account, and today I woke up and I was lifted. So apparently the intervention by ACLU did work in this case, and I can now use my account again.
Well, how would you recommend someone else to either contact the ACLU outlet that you were in touch with, or any that would be nearby them? What steps did you have to go through?
Just go through all the ACLU numbers in Los Angeles. I went through San Francisco. Then I started leaving messages on the Massachusetts site. And then they put me in contact with ACLU National, and I did get a hold of an aide there that was interested in listening to the case based on my background in news and my background in knowing my rights.
Well, I think it's knowing your rights that puts you head and shoulders above a lot of us, because most of us take for granted that we have rights, but we've never really researched them. Is there any type of education that you gave yourself or that you could recommend to the rest of us so that we don't get caught short when we're trying to defend ourselves?
Just don't post it if your mother wouldn't want to look at it. That's a good rule of thumb for me. Just be careful with what you post and make sure you're not violating their various violations. I mean, you've got hate speech. That's widely interpreted. You've got pornography, which I've been reported before for sharing the pic of the starving mother and child in Africa. It was reported as pornography. Meanwhile, Facebook has many, many, many pornography pages up, and I can tell you that I know personally they had an image up on a 125,000 public page that was graphic pornography that was left up for over 2 weeks, despite various reports. And there are applications for any kind of pornography you could possibly imagine, yet they're harassing so-called truther pages over pics of starving children and mothers in Africa.
Well, if it weren't so believable, it would be unbelievable. The fact that a multi-billion-dollar company is not willing to invest in some form of well-staffed and well-trained people to handle disputes like this. We'll call them a dispute rather than a censor. So if I don't like the idea of looking at someone in Africa trying to feed her child and both being emaciated, and I decide to call that pornography, it seems to me that that should have immediately gotten the attention that it deserved and would have been blown off as a complaint.
The things that people are getting reported for right now and the images that are being brought down just aren't violations, and I'm talking across the board on many, many, many pages. As I said, each day another admin, whether it be for Occupy or another truther group, will come in and say, we've been censored again. There goes another admin. There are admins who just, their entire teams are gone now and their pages are dead because they just can't get onto Facebook anymore. They lock you out of your account.
Well, it sounds like the ACLU had better grease its machine there, because it's going to be needed on Facebook. What kind of warnings does Facebook issue?
They'll issue a warning is your first, a 24-hour is your second, meaning that you cannot post or like anything, and sometimes can't use the chat function for 24 hours. The third is 3 days. The fourth is 7 days. The fifth is 30 days. So they take you through a series of steps. My co-founder right now, Lex Kelly, is on a permaban. Her account cannot be undone. Every time she signs in, she's got another ban, normally for the same pic that she was already banned for. So she's stuck in the continuous computerization Facebook loop. And I'll tell you, for a company that big that, claims to tout, 1,700,000,000 people, they don't have anybody answering phones. The phones are a dead loop. You can't get through to them. Try it sometime. Call Cupertino. That's where they're located now. Try the headquarters. Unreachable.
Maybe
the police department can't even get a hold of them, Jerry.
It seems to me, since we are both of a mind to tout the importance of Occupy and this good work, that they need a few occupiers to show up and at the main gate and get their attention.
Oh, that probably wouldn't be a bad idea, because I don't even know if they'd let you in the front gate. I don't think Facebook is going to respond to any of our issues. I don't expect that they're going to open up any kind of a call center. But we're talking about a publicly traded company, and there's nowhere to reach them. Go to their help pages. Pretend you have a stalker, Jerry. Try to get some help. It's impossible. All you get is automated email responses.
Well, I know you are also on Twitter. What is your handle there?
News Vortex.
Okay, at News Vortex. Have you had any problems with Twitter along the same lines?
Not really. Twitter is never censored at all. The tweets go out. I've never been suspended, never been warned. And Twitter is more of a wide open platform. And I think what you're finding is people are frustrated with Facebook, and right now their growth is stagnant in the United States. And it's because people just don't want to deal with the nonsense. I mean, this is an adult page. It's not for under 13s yet.
Yet,
although they're trying.
Well, I would say that 15 minutes of fact being put out here, as you have very directly, I want to invite our listeners to share this widely with their readers and on Facebook, so that maybe that famous tide of public opinion can finally wash up to the shores of Cupertino and the front door and get some attention on it. If there are people that would like to get in touch with you personally, how would they reach you?
They can reach me on my Twitter, Jerry. That's fine. I'll accept any responses there.
Okay. Well, we have just about completed our segment here. Is there anything that you would like to leave us with as a thought?
I'm just disappointed. I'm disappointed that Facebook hasn't addressed these issues despite numerous complaints publicly and privately, and that their messages go to nowhere, and that there's just nobody to get a hold of when you have a problem like this. Except the ACLU, and thank goodness there are some people out there who fight for free speech.
You couldn't say it any better. And Jerry Ashton here at WGRNradio.com, wishing you the best. I'm looking forward to seeing you censor Facebook rather than vice versa. And
Thank you, Jerry.
And I'm signing off for today. Thanks so much for listening.
Thank you.